Want to be sure you're getting the most out of your retirement for all the years of your retirement? That's the primary goal of More Living with Jim Brogan and our Dollars and Cents segment, where we provide you with an important financial tip that will help positively impact the quality of your life in retirement. And now here's Jim with this week's Dollars and Cents tip.
And you may have heard, you may not have heard, but on Friday it came out that there is a huge, potentially huge insider trading ring in Wall Street going on that's being investigated that could end up being the biggest insider, having the biggest impact of any insider trading ring in Wall Street history. And it could end up being something that involves, to a very large degree, institutional managers, and specifically the mutual fund industry could be involved. And the last thing we need is another financial scandal that rocks the industry. And you know, we still don't know exactly how deep this may run. But what can you be doing as we track these things? You're going to be having more and more of these questions as this comes out more and more in the media. What can you be doing to insulate yourself as much as possible from these kinds of things? And I guess there's a couple of things I would say. I think the number one thing when you're working with an advisor is to work with someone that's independent. You know, I made a decision many years ago that I wanted to be independent, because what you find is when you're working with a retail broker dealer or someone else like that, you know, I wanted to work for my clients. I didn't want to work for a company. And when you work for a company, there have been documented cases of conflicts of interest with their investment banking divisions that also invade their stock research divisions in terms of what they're recommending to their brokers. There's just all kinds of potential there for conflicts in what I would end up in what the broker would recommend versus what the client may need. And I think it's important for independence, because then you don't work for a company, you work for your client. I made a decision many, many years ago, 9 years ago, that I wanted to be independent. I didn't want anybody telling me what I needed to recommend for my clients because of all those potential conflicts. Okay. The other thing with an independent person that's fee-based, and that would be the other thing, is a fee-based advisor, is it does as much as possible reduce the conflicts of interest, because whenever you're buying a security, there's not a commission involved. And one other thing that's important about that is when you're fee-based, for example, you have a fiduciary duty to your clients. I have a fiduciary duty to my clients, which means it's the highest financial standard one person or firm can have to another, is you have to always be acting solely in the client's best interest, and you have to always be looking out for the client's best interests. And only fee-based advisors on the financial advice side have that type of a duty, the fiduciary standard. Now, some questions that do come up sometimes is, well, if you're working with somebody like a boutique independent type of firm here, anywhere else in the country, how do you stay away from a Bernie Madoff type situation? And one of the red flags there is you don't, I'm not a big fan of an advisor taking custody of your money. In other words, the custody is held somewhere else at like a no-load brokerage account. Probably the three largest that most people have heard of are Schwab, TD Ameritrade, and Fidelity. The advisor is merely the advisor on that account. They don't actually have custody of the money. You get your statement every month, and it says exactly what the securities are that you hold and what their dollar amounts are to support the amount of investments that you have. Everything's fully disclosed, and the advisor cannot actually make withdrawals from the account other than maybe for their fee. They can't just say, they don't have custody of the money. Bernie Madoff had custody of his clients' money. He also, on his statements that he sent to his clients, it didn't show any of the detail behind what actually made up the value of those clients' accounts. Those are huge, huge red flags, especially when an advisor has custody. So you can work with an independent advisor and be confident of that as long as they don't have custody. You still have to do your due diligence, ask around, check with Chambers of Commerce, Better Business Bureau, what's the reputation. You've got to do your homework there. But I think independence is very important to remove as much as possible these conflicts of interest, and there's no telling how deep this is going to go with the scandal that's just come up that they're investigating in Wall Street.